Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is my third time trying to start the show. I think this time will be a winner. Welcome back to the James Freel Show, as you know by the sound of that theme song. Today's show is for the day August 17th, 2018. Can you believe how fast the summer is going? It's already almost gone. What have you accomplished? Probably not much because the summer's not intended. And I guess the summer's more of a relaxing time, but everyone's different. We got a great show. Well, hopefully I have a great show coming up for you soon. Got a few topics here in front of me, as you know. Looking forward to what I got going on. I can't remember what exactly was the sport analogy that I had made on last week's show. I think I said I was down 2 games to 1 because the last few shows haven't been the best, but I'm looking to redeem that. And I think I got a good lineup right here. Oh, let's see. This is my ninth, I think, show I have on this new platform. Chugging right along. So far, I'm satisfied with how it's going. Let's see if we can make a bounce back after the L last week. Lost last week, that is. We've already not off to a great start. Oh, there's that again. I gotta remember to. Anyway, as always, before we start, we have to begin with news for the uninformed. In our top story, the abuse scandal plaguing the Catholic Church has entered a new chapter as monstrous revelations were released in a grand jury report on Tuesday, describing the abuse of more than 1,000 young people at the hands of hundreds of priests in Pennsylvania. The priest at St. Paul described it as a horrendous and evil act and a moral failure on behalf of church leaders. Yeah, Pennsylvania can't catch a break. I just watched that documentary last night, finally, called Happy Valley, all about the Jerry Sandusky thing. Man, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's rough. Rough stuff. That's horrible. That really is. Oh, geez. I guess it's a good thing that it's all coming to justice or whatever. Insert cliches about when I feel uncomfortable about a topic. In sports, this could be the first season in Major League history to feature more strikeouts than hits, a slowdown that worries many league officials. 30 years ago, batters compiled nearly 13,000 more hits than strikeouts. Last season, the edge dwindled to about 2,000. This season through Tuesday, it was nearly even, with hits only slightly ahead. 30,422 hits as opposed to 30,341 strikeouts. Oh, geez, yeah. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an expert when it comes to baseball. It's like it's my second favorite sport to watch. But it seems like pitchers are just getting a lot better than batters. Like we've sort of hit the threshold on how good you can get at batting. But when it comes to pitching, we've got people who are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and better at it. It seems like the sky's the limit with how good you can get, and batting seems to have like plateaued in the 90s. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just my opinion. Anyway, and in pop culture, the Queen of Soul, legendary singer-songwriter Aretha Franklin died yesterday in Detroit, Michigan at the age of 76. The cause was advanced pancreatic cancer, her publicist Gwendol Quinn said. Franklin had a musical career of more than 5 decades and had more than 100 singles on the Billboard charts. I remember the first time I found out who Aretha Franklin was. I was watching the Blues Brothers, and I was way too young to be watching that, but she's in that movie. She does a good job. I enjoy. I don't have her whole catalog or anything, but I've never heard anything bad from her. Everything I've always heard has always been pretty good. So I believe she was big in Motown. I think I took this rock and roll history class that I slept through most of the time in high school. I remember learning a bit about her. That does seem like a bit of a loss. The most recent I remember is, I think it was Thanksgiving 2 years ago. She sang, I don't know if it was the Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America or something along those lines at the piano. And it just went on and on and on, and it became a joke. And I wasn't thinking while I was watching, geez, this is taking forever. But as soon as I got on social media and saw the memes piling in, I was like, oh, so it wasn't just me. And I remember the following Thanksgiving, everyone's like, all right, Aretha Franklin has finally stopped singing. And I also remember at halftime they did a time of possession, and it was like the Lions. I don't remember who they were playing, but they showed that, and then they showed her time also. That seemed kind of crazy because, that I'm pretty sure, I don't know if the networks arranged for her to be there singing or if it was just if it's like the stadium's job. I don't know what dynamic they have, what their relationship is, but that's pretty savage. But rest in peace, Aretha Franklin. You're a national gem, from what I understand, as far as I know. All right, moving on to topics. Moving on to the rambling section. So about, I'd say, I think it was last Sunday. That's when it was. I had gotten a call from an old friend, and he asked if I would come to his apartment. We don't live too far away, but we don't see each other that often. Went to high school together. He was a grade above me. Really talented video producer guy. Producer guy. Excuse me. He went to school for film, and I think he's quite good at it. Now, it's hard to make it as a filmmaker in where we live. We don't live in New York, LA, or Atlanta. I think Atlanta has a film scene. I don't know. But I think he's good at what he does. I've had a lot of fun. Whether he's good or not, I don't know. I think he is, but I don't know much about it. But I've participated in a lot of projects with him, and it's always been a blast. I mean, even if it's not professional, it's just like baseball, you know? You don't have to be professional to have a really fun time participating in it. And at the end, you get to watch what you did. Anyway, so he knows that he's actually been on Conversations with James Freel, which I know I keep promising. It should be out. I don't know when it should be out, but I'd like to have it out maybe soon. He's going to be the first one. It's already been recorded. He was on like a little over a month ago, and it was a great show. His name is David Campbell. He used his real name. So he knows that I have audio recording equipment, and he asked, "Hey, I'd really love it if you could come over, record something for me." And I told him, "Yeah, I'd love to. I only have 3 mics though, so that may be an issue. I don't know if that'll work because he's got like 7 different people he wants to record." And I did the best I could. Basically, I played. He's really into Dungeons and Dragons, and he wants to record it for a project he's working on, and I think it's a fun idea. And I want to give my experience with Dungeons and Dragons because I can already hear how much of a nerd I sound like. I've only played it once, and I played it on New Year's Day of 2017. And I met with a lot of people. I played it with David and a bunch of, well, not like about 2 or 3 other people I knew, and then like 5 other people I had never met in my life. And it took me like an hour and a half to just be prepared to play it, just to like set up your character or whatever. It's been so long. You have to like pick your race and what you do and what your skill set is or something. And it took a long time to set it up. And when I did, it was also New Year's Day, so I had brought a flask of white rum with me just to, it was a bit of a party, and I don't know if that's what helped the experience, but basically, the first hour and a half, I had a really fun time. Thing is, they played for about 3.5 hours. First hour and a half was great. 3.5 hours, the following 2 hours were a little, okay, this is getting a little old, but that hour and a half, it just felt like playing a video game, except you're with other people, which makes it a little less sad because you're actually getting some social interaction going. I don't know, it was a lot of fun for me. I don't see myself doing it. They do it every week. Every Sunday they are playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is fine. I don't know why I needed to clarify that it was fine. But I don't see myself as someone, not that I have anything against it. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's a major time commitment. And I would love to do it again, but they play it very. It seems that their storyline continues constantly. So I don't know if they can just throw me in like that, but I wouldn't mind playing again with them. It would be fun. Maybe I should when I get work going again. The problem is they always meet it on Sunday nights, and I don't know if you noticed, but it's fall soon, and Sundays are kind of an important day for my favorite televised sport in the world. Football's coming back up, and it's only here a third of the year. It's one of those big reasons to keep on living when it's football season. That sounded darker than it should be, but life is so much more exciting when football's around. And I'm not gonna watch. Not I'm not going to play Dungeons and Dragons as opposed to watching football unless it's a dumb game. Maybe then I would do it, but like if the night it's like the Titans versus the Jaguar, well, like those teams are doing better. If it's the Browns versus the Jets, like okay, if NBC is really putting that on as Sunday night football, then okay. If you don't know what football is, the thing is, I don't see how I think me being obsessed with sports can be just as nerdy as someone playing Dungeons and Dragons. I guess it's the athletic complex that makes it different, but I don't know. I think that after meeting with people, I guess Dungeons and Dragons got a bad rap in the 70s. Is that when it first started? I don't know. I'm probably boring you with this topic if you're actually listening. I probably keep fading in and out. Let me stabilize. There we go. That should, well, there we go. That should be a little bit better. Anyway, so I was around those people I recorded them for about 2 hours the other night. I got to say, it's odd being around that large. I'm very antisocial. That's why I do things like this. I, I tend to overcompensate for my lack of social life with doing something like this because, hey, to be honest, I'm probably the only person who's going to listen to this in the future. I should start going live. No, it's probably not a good idea because I've already stopped and edited out about a total of 15 seconds from this. And I don't get that second chance when I do it live, although it's not like anyone would be watching live and I could always edit it back, but then oh, well, you're boring people, you're boring people. But so I was around a lot of people. I knew about two-fifths of them from high school, and people are nice. At least they were. It was a very nice group of people, and I didn't feel the pressure. A lot of times when I'm in a new social situation or a social environment, I feel extremely. I just get that social angst. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but I start to be like, okay, well, make sure you say the right thing. Don't say anything stupid. I didn't feel that around them and I don't think it's because I felt any sort. I want to make this clear. It's not because they're playing what's perceived to be a nerdy game, because I think listening to them, it was a very fun experience to listen again for the first hour and a half. Then it gets a little okay, unless the storyline's really good. But everyone was fantastic to me. I would love to do it again. What was really interesting is that so I had my mic set up at the table, and my interface has an extremely long cord, so I was like on the other side of the room, and I almost felt like I was. You ever see those movies where the FBI or the CIA, I don't even know the difference between those two, they're sitting out in a van and they've got those monitors and they're wearing headphones and the person's wearing a bug and they're trying to entrap or trap the person, incriminating themselves. I felt like that because I had headphones on and I was listening to it, making sure their levels were staying all right. But I was on the other side of the room and I felt like I was like laying down in the middle of the table hearing everything. So that was a fun experience. But everyone was very, very nice. I had a great time. There's a few of them that I've said, you guys got to come on, CJF, Conversations with James Freel. I know when I release this show, it says JFS for James Freel Show. It should be the J. Anyway, that's what it'll be. I've got a few people coming on, or hopefully soon. I look forward to it. So that was my experience with friends from high school that I hadn't seen in a long time with Dungeons and Dragons. It was a very interesting time. Had a good time. Very nice people. Lots of people. Lots of people. So the night before, as I did on last week's show of the James Freel show, I revealed my actual location that I live in Cincinnati. I'm just done trying to. The cost of giving away my actual location is not worth whatever benefit it's getting, because I guess my concern at first was that someone would listen to this who I knew, and they would know that I do this and it's really cringy, and then they would talk and be like, "Hey guys, did you hear that thing James does? That's really weird." And because I've seen people who rap on SoundCloud, and I don't know if this is as bad as rapping. For all I know, it could be worse. I don't know if it's entirely worse, because they would have to sit down and actually listen to a good 4 or 5 minutes of this to realize how bad it is. You don't have to do that with rapping, and I don't think anyone has an attention span long enough to sit down and listen to this whole thing, or at least even 3 or 4 minutes of it, to get the idea of it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But anyway, so I went across the river down south to Kentucky, where the bluegrass is good, and I don't know, what else does Kentucky have. They're known for basketball. It turns out I live extremely close to the largest liquor store in the United States, and I went to just look around because the selection is huge, and you don't have to buy something to go in there. Unlike when you go into the small liquor store where you go there and the cashier's standing right there, he sees you come in, and it would look really sketchy. You feel pressure to buy things. That reminds me of a satirical article I once saw about how 93% of purchases in boutique shops are driven by guilt or pressure. I don't know how those things stay in business. They have to have just rich relatives who give you interest from an account or something to keep it afloat. I don't know. But I went to the largest liquor store in the country, and I gotta say I was kind of disappointed when I found out that this is really the largest one in the entire country. I mean, it's big. It's about the size of a small Walmart. It's smaller than a Walmart. More like what's a national chain? Like about the size of a Target, maybe. Smaller than. But it was really interesting. Their prices were, I guess when you have the novelty of being the country's largest liquor store, you can afford to charge a little more. But I felt a little out of place with the crowd there, and I'm not trying to sound judgmental or anything. I think it might be the Ohio Kentucky divide, not necessarily because I've made it no secret on the show that I enjoy adult beverages quite a bit. So in that respect, they did have these little when I was in the whiskey section, because that's my favorite spirit. So I looked down, and they have these in bookstores and in video stores. Not that there are any video stores left, but they always have the employees' recommendations. And instead of just putting their name, they actually had a photo of the guy sitting there with one of those fancy looking whiskey glasses. I've been meaning to get, but I don't spend that much money on whiskey. I mean, what am I gonna do? Put Jim Beam in one of those, or Beam? I don't know. That's about as I'll go above and beyond that. But wow, I am really sounding like I have a drinking problem. I guess I know you don't. You're just being silly. You're just being overdramatic about the situation because you don't want to be perceived as an alcoholic to anyone who is listening. A lot of previous shows I have done with a glass in my hand, and I have noticed that I'm much worse when I do that. I'm not drinking right now. I am staying completely sober I've been sober for the past few weeks because I've had exams. I talked about that last week on the show. How I next week is exam week, or this past week was, and then I have one on Mondays. So just trying to keep a clear head, clear mind, and everything. Maybe I did. I don't know. So that's that. what was interesting, anyway, back to the country's largest liquor store. You walk in, and it's called the Party Source. And if you're facing the store, like I said, it's about the size of a Target. Yeah, I think that's a good size to put it at. Divide it down the middle. On the right is all of the alcoholic beverages, and on the left is actual party supplies. It's almost like a, I don't know, a store designed for they have all these decorations and everything you would need. They don't have a lot of food, but any like little balloons, flowers, posters, banners. They have all that. And that part of the store we went to second. The first part we went to was where the huge crowd was, and it was extremely crowded over there. You couldn't go 10 feet without having to. Don't you hate that when there are two people standing and they're completely blocking the aisle, and you don't want to. You're in a no-win situation when you do that because you don't want to look impatient, so you just awkwardly stare and pretend like you're looking at what's in front of you. Anyway. So we do that, and then my special lady friend, she wanted to go to the decoration side, and we're like, okay, we'll do that. It was a ghost town. No one goes to that store. Or I bet if they do, this was on a Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday night. So anyone who shops there for the party decor probably goes there during the day on a weekday. It'd be interesting to see who stocks all that stuff. I don't know. James, you stock stuff. It's not that interesting. Anyway, so that was my experience there. Can someone explain liquor prices with me? Because they almost seem like gas prices, the way they fluctuate. You'd think that there'd be like, you got that Gas Buddy app that tells you where the closest prices are. I wish someone would invent something like that for, like, Jack Daniels. It's $24.99 here. It's $22.38. Can someone do that? Because now I really sound like I consume too much alcohol. It would just be nice that, because I'm not going to take the time to go all over and find the best deal. Although maybe I should. Maybe that's my problem. Moving on. Let's plow ahead here. So tomorrow I got a birthday party to go to, and it's weird going to birthday parties when you're over the age of 22. They all seem to be. See, from that, I think I already talked about birthdays for the first time I came back here on this new platform. I don't care. I'm going back to it. I'm talking about it again. It's like from age 0 to from 0 to 2, your parties are basically the same. Then from like 3 to 7, and 7 to like 12, and 13 to 18, and then 18 to 20. It's weird when you get to be an adult because it's just a totally different dynamic. I'm kind of surprised. This is probably the last time I went to a birthday party was this. It's a couple I know, and their birthdays are so close together that they just celebrate it all at the same day. So I gotta find something to bring. I'm not doing. They just asked us to bring a side, and they said don't worry about gifts. And I don't want to sound like the biggest cheapskate in the world, but I don't play this game where you say, I'm not even gonna go down that road. I'm not even touching that one. Parties are a weird situation, and it kind of ties in with what I was talking about with friends from high school, that whole social dynamic that exists at parties. And I went to one party in high school, one like party in high school. And I didn't drink then, I didn't drink underage. It was a strange experience. It was the first time I had ever been around a large number of intoxicated people, and I couldn't tell that they were. I always thought I would know when someone was intoxicated. And when my friend and I were driving back, he didn't drink or anything, and he said, "Yeah, you couldn't tell." And I'm like, "No, I don't know. I thought that everyone was just happy to see me, and everyone was in a good mood." Because there were a lot of people there who I would see in class. I would be aware of in class, and I just sat at a couch all by myself and alone, and people who would never even talk to me, they were aware of my existence. I wasn't popular, or I wasn't in the in crowd in high school, but people were aware of me, basically. So when I did that, you know what? That story's really not that interesting. I'm not going to go down that trail. But that was my experience of parties in high school, and I guess it's not really comparable to what I'm going to tomorrow because it's more of just a social gathering. I don't know. I've always heard the term party foul, but I don't know what that actually is. All I know is that I'm extremely scared of committing one because I'm just not the best in social situations. You can probably tell if you actually listen to this thing. Like, yeah, I really, James, I pegged you for a social virtuoso. Jeez, I sound horrible right now. I don't want to come across as, oh, never mind. I've done this whole song and dance before. But it was a study weekend because I got my exam on Monday. This past week I had a few night classes. Had a huge long lab, and I will say, you all know I have a 4-year degree that's worthless because it's in philosophy, and I'm finishing up a 2-year degree that actually leads to a career in electrical engineering tech. So that's what I'm working on. The best professors I've had have all been at my 2-year school. Maybe I don't want to judge that as that's what the cause is. I think more so it's the subject material that I'm in, because philosophy classes, you really don't have to teach. You can just pontificate. You can just ramble, which is something I'm very familiar with. It's not really, at least in the classes I took, it wasn't really that important that you fully understood it. As long as you could put it into an essay, you would get an A. In a more science-based situation, which is what I'm in now, or applied science rather, I know science people get really offended if you classify it that way. You have to actually demonstrate your understanding of it, or just be incredibly lucky. That's where I'm sitting at right now anyway. I saw last night the Patriots played the Eagles and they won, and I wonder if there's that on the field, like, hey, we beat you guys last year in the Super Bowl. Yeah, but I mean, it's preseason. I don't imagine there's a whole lot of trash talking going on the field. I get stressed out for the players who are playing on the field, because when they drop an easy catch, I'm like, oh man, that guy's not getting signed. He's a no-name. That's how it is. I got a question for anyone listening out there. There's so many different... Is rice healthy? Now, when I say healthy, I don't mean like super organic friendly. I just mean, is it healthy as opposed to like the typical diet of frozen meals, fast food? I've been starting to cook rice a little more. Whole grain rice. Now, it's not that long. It's like Uncle Ben's rice, but it's just like the giant bag of brown rice. I don't know if it's good for you or not, but I tell you what, you just chop up some vegetables in it. I mean, you can get a pretty decent meal that way. Anyway, that's that. This is a part where I can start to just sort of shove in stuff at the end that I know I doubt anyone's gotten this far anyway. There's that. I spent a lot of time at the library this past 2 weeks. I think it was Tuesday and Thursday, yes, as opposed to my local public library, as opposed to the library at my school, just because studying seems to be a little bit better being at my hometown. What I can't do is stay home and study. I need to be out because there's too many distractions here at home. I mean, there's really the same amount of distractions there. Just open up a tab and you're on YouTube. But that's that. Still not on social media for August, and I really thought I would notice it being gone a little more, but I'm still alive. So someone tell me if rice is healthy. I think that's all I got to say for this show. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the James Freel Show for August 17th, 2018. I will see you next week. I'm not going to consider this a win, so now I am down 3-1. Can I make a comeback? All right, I don't know. See you later, folks. Bye.